Hey, what's up, Boxers? This is Zach Rosette with Buildbox. In this video, we're going to do an in-depth review of the game Trixel Rocket. This game performed really well in the App Store, and we're going to take a look as to why that is. Because by all rights, this is just another space shooter game, but in reality, this game is very unique, and it really stood out. And so why is that? And we're going to look at the finer details of this game to discover what makes a game stand out, and how you can take a gameplay that you probably already know very well and love, and add your own unique twist to it to make it to the top of the App Store. When Trixel Rocket was launched, it was number 38 in the App Store, which is fantastic. This is a game that was released by Blizz Studio and game developer Jerry Berg, who was actually our Buildbox Game Jam second place winner. And this game came out, I believe, September 18th, 2018. The game earned itself an Apple feature and showed up in New Games We Love, so the game did really well. So let's take a real in-depth look at it and break down what makes this game stand out. Okay, so first, let's take a look at Trixel Rocket's game icon. So it's definitely got a gameplay action shot. You can see the rocket shooting upwards to the upper right-hand corner, and it's got that little flame shooting out the back, and it definitely stands out among other app icons. It's got a Trixelated look to it, which is something I don't see too often, so it's definitely a good-looking game icon. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually play this game. So let's open up Trixel Rocket. So this is by Blizz Studio, developer Jerry Berg. And it says prepare yourself, it's tough out there in space. Awesome. First thing you'll notice is that it hooks up right up to the game center. You definitely want to have that incorporated into your game. If your game is going to make it to the top of the charts, you've got to hook up to the game center. All right, let's take a quick look at this main menu user interface in general. It's got a nice Trixelated background using some darker blues and purples and some blacks. Kind of gives it that space feel. And you'll also notice some nice flickering Trixels that are textured in there and layered on top there, and a little bit of flashing on the rocket as well. It gives it that sort of kind of that retro arcade game feel to it. And you've got a little bit of, looks like debris thrown in there as well on the main menu. First off, let's talk about the 80s feel of this game. So you can see there in the font, in the text, that the rocket looks just like sort of like this neon, very 80s feel to it, and that's something that's really popular right now. That's working for a lot of films and TV shows. Blade Runner, they did a remake of that recently. That had a total 80s feel to it. Also, Stranger Things, the television series, that's done super well. It's got a real 80s feel to it as well. But they definitely modernized it, and they gave it sort of a modern spin, and especially updated the music. And so let's go ahead and let's keep looking at this main menu UI. So you got your high score right there, so you know what you need to beat. That's fantastic. Also, play button centered towards the bottom, a nice big play button. That's really good. You want your player to jump into it right away. And then he's also drawing a lot of focus into the play button by having that just, that little animation spin around over and over and kind of flicker. Main character looks great, front and center, looks good. Let's take a look at the information page. Okay. This gives a quick rundown of everything you need for the game. Collect gems, avoid objects, move the ship using shields. Art and development were by Jerry Berg, and the music was by Lewis Thompson. If you want to watch a cool video of those two going over the music and working on the music, creating it for this game, it's on their YouTube channel. It's very cool. Also, let's take a look at the GDPR page. This is also something that you definitely want to include in your games. This is part of adhering to Apple's requirements on ad experience. All right, so let's go ahead and press play. All right, so now also looking at the rest of this game, you can see here that there's this little tips button, and that'll take you over to YouTube. Right now, I am not connected to the internet because I don't want any interruptions, but you can check out their YouTube channel. There's a lot of great videos there going over the making of the game and also tips for playing the game and doing better. You've got the sound on and off there. You can see that's working properly. And then you've got the gem store here and the ship store, so you can buy different spaceships. You got Explorer 1, Explorer 2, Theta Jet. You got all these different ships here, and you can buy them for different amounts of gems. going all the way up to about, I think, 6,000 gems. Yeah, Phoenix Fire here, 6,000. And you've got a couple ships here that you can buy for 99 cents in-app purchases. I like the look of this game store. I like that you've got the shields on the left, the gems on the right. It's a nice balance, really cool look to it, and you've got the remove ads on the bottom. Basically everything you need is all summed up right here in the store. And then last but not least, this is required by Apple, the restore purchases button. Let's go ahead, let's go back and let's actually play this game. Okay, so we've got the slide left and right here, controls. It's really cool. You'll notice at the beginning of the game you start off with a couple gems. The developer automatically rewards you with a couple gems, and that's really fantastic. That'll keep your players coming back. They get a little bit of reward just for playing, just for jumping into the game here. You get a little bit of gems. All right, let's take a quick look at the game over user interface as well. In keeping with that 80s feel, the game over font or text is also looks very neon. It looks really futuristic as well. It looks good, nice and clean. You got the same space background feel to it with the dark purples, dark turquoise, blues, and the black. And you've also got some little debris floating around there as well. And then the little spaceman is moving and floating ever so slightly, and the same thing with his little cord, his little hook up there, and that is a nice little effect, a nice touch. Then you've got your current score and your high score displayed there. That's fantastic. He's also emphasizing jumping back into the game so you can play again. Same sort of rotating, oscillating animation there on the play again button. You've got your share button down here, bottom left. That's also really good. I'm guessing that's the home button, so I'm going to go ahead and skip that. And you've got the store button again there as well. So nice, clean UI, not too many buttons. Same thing with the home screen UI. It's not just overloading you with a bunch of buttons. It draws the player's attention in on the play button, and that's really what you want. You want the player to jump into the game. Okay, this is a really beautifully designed game. I love that you have the gems there in the beginning. The Trixelated look, all your artwork looks fantastic, and a good balance of gameplay here. I went too far. Also show using the shields as well. And this is a really cool scene coming up here. This uses the camera shake or the screen shake effect in Buildbox. And so what this does is it creates this effect that the spaceship is just flying really fast, or flying through some sort of asteroid field. It's just a really cool effect. And so this is a nice touch, a nice way to get the most out of that effect. And it's a crafty way to use that feature in Buildbox. And by the way, I'll mention again that all of these games that I go over were all made using the Buildbox software with absolutely no coding whatsoever. So this is just a bunch of drag and drop images here and particle effects, particle emitters. This is a nice, really clean feel to it. Okay, let's keep playing. Let's see if I can beat my high score. So you want to avoid the edges. You don't want to touch the sides. And you'll notice here, you'll notice that with these asteroids, he does this little effect where he sort of highlights the asteroids in this outer outline of blue. And it's a nice little effect, that little lighting that's surrounded there, especially when you have darker scenes where it's a little bit harder to distinguish the asteroids on a space background, which is also dark. So by emphasizing the little blue lights right here, this is a great example. You can really distinguish which are the enemies and what is safe. So this is like, you know, these little subtle touches are really important when you're making your game and designing your game. You got to think about what your player is going to experience, and if it's going to be difficult to even see the asteroids. If you didn't have that blue outline, it would be extremely difficult to tell what's safe and what's not. Okay. So for these scenes, you've got these little Trixels flying, and I believe it looks like he's got a little trail effect there. It looks really cool. I always use the shield there, and I guess I ran out of my shield. But Yeah, it's a really nice balance effect. I think these are either spawning decorations or these are particle emitters. This is a really beautiful effect. I also like that he like layered in these clouds. Oh, I messed up there. Okay. It makes it by layering over that pink clouds and adding that trail animation as well on the ship. It creates a very different feel for the scene, and it's very cool. Okay. Yeah, I almost made it.
Game over.
Okay, but that pretty much covers it. We kind of went over each little detail of this game, but it's a really beautifully designed game. It's a really cool setup, and it's a good spin off of an old space shooter style game. Really this is just an avoidance game. There's really no I haven't seen any shooting incorporated into the game where you're blowing up any enemies or anything. So it's simply an avoidance game with your spaceship character, but it's done really well, and the polish is there. For instance, the thanks for playing 50 free gems, that's a classic example of an experienced developer throwing that in there. That helps with game player retention, and so players are going to come back because they get these 50 gems, and they'll spend those gems, and they'll come back and want to buy more ships and buy more shields, and it's a really, that definitely helps. And so if you want to have a game that makes it to the top of the charts in the App Store, you're going to want to incorporate little techniques like that. They're going to help with player retention, especially if you're trying to work with a publisher or trying to send a game to a publisher to get looked at. You want to have those little things built into your game so that they know that you know what you're doing. So what I would say that makes this game stand out the most and makes it the most unique is the Trixel artwork incorporated with this retro vibe, the kind of vibe that you see in Blade Runner or Stranger Things, or the kind of vibe that has been pretty popular lately. It's the artwork that really stands out and makes this game come across as really unique. Even though it's just another simple space shooter avoidance game, this game really pulls it together with the artwork and the overall style. So I hope you thought this video was useful. Keep an eye out for more videos to come, and as always, keep on boxing.